of 196 pounds. This isn't for someone like Prince, 112 pounds. For an average male of 196 pounds, lethal dose through the DEA would be 2 milligrams. And a deadly dose would be 3 milligrams in his gastric system. He had 14,000 milligrams. 2 being lethal, 3 being deadly. He had 14,000 milligrams in his gastric system. So being in the gastric system, it means that it was ingested. So that means taken orally. And what, according to the DEA and CDC, the experts in this report, in this autopsy report, what they said, that's too much, too high of an amount to be in a pill form. Okay, let me not get off this. So, to be in a pill form, they said that no one would be able to swallow that many pills. Not to mention, in the short time it takes fentanyl to work, a person definitely wouldn't be able to take, all the remaining pills. So, no way possible it was in a pill form. So, liquid form, powder mix form, I don't know. Okay? I don't know. I'm just giving you the facts of what they say. Okay? So, basically, what that would mean is that he had enough fentanyl in his system, 112 pounds. So he had enough fentanyl in his system to kill over 8,000 people his size. Anyways, and if you are trying to believe the pill narrative and saying, oh, well, he took something he didn't know that he was taking. Well, per the CDC, it is not humanly possible to take that amount of fentanyl that they found in his system in a pill form. You'd be dead long before. It'd be like shooting yourself in the head and then shooting yourself in the body a few more times. Okay, catch my drift? But anyways, we're going to keep on moving from there. Okay. Other parts of the mixture found in his system and mentioned in the report were something called U-47700, which is the opioid that is 7.5 times the potency of morphine. Also, lidocaine, I think I'm pronouncing it right. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It's Lidocaine. It's a numbing agent, and if injected, it begins working very quickly. And when used in a mixture, the effects last a lot longer. And on top of numbing effect, it also, it can cause sleepiness and confusion. This is from the autopsy report, experts, So with this, the accidental fentanyl overdose was no accident. How? Okay. It was no accident.
Yeah. But I never, and here I am. I'm an expert drug addict, okay? I've done it. And I could not tell. I never had the inkling. Not even a suspicion. This dude was dropping even an aspirin.
Yeah, because what that witness...
I would know. I'm like, what?
But, because especially with him being such a devout witness, Larry Graham came into his life.
I just said, that was the all dude. I was cussing out Larry Graham and everything. I was all in everybody's behind. Believe me, I was. Okay? I really was. I was all in their business.
Well, do you think somebody switched the pills in the thing?
No, I think that he was a juice. But I look at the tape. This dude broke both his ankles at the same time.
What?
Wearing them high heels, doing a jump, doing this on stage.
Oh,
okay.
Jesus.
He was in pain. Yeah. Okay. Now, if I'd have thought about that back then when I was looking for some evidence, I probably could have come up with some evidence, you know. I do consider myself somewhat of a sleuth. But I did not. I swear to God, it was the best illusion.
I've never even seen him take an aspirin or a Tylenol. I've never seen him take anything. You know, I know that he was in pain because I know that I'm in pain half the time.
You never saw him taking drugs?
I never saw him taking drugs. I never saw him drunk. Marijuana, never. And the aspirin, I believed him.
I can confirm he had surgery on his hips, and it's what happens when you jump for 40 years onto hips. That's what happens. It's a work-related injury.
I don't believe it was an accident that the bottles were mislabeled. I don't believe that. I don't believe any of the stories that they told me. He died on the plane and they brought him back. Somebody's gonna have to tell me the real story. They're gonna have to tell me exactly why you did not, when you found him on the plane, stay with him all night long and have a doctor there when he got off that plane. I always felt like people were keeping him from us. Like they were keeping people away from Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, they were keeping him away. And I was warned after Michael ended up dying, I was warned the same thing was going to probably happen to Prince.
When news of Prince's death broke,
I cried. I was angry.
Prince died from an opioid overdose. Newly unsealed court documents reveal his struggles with addiction. Crutchfield says it's a lifestyle he never saw on the road. In fact, one story he shares paints a different picture.
The last gig that we did, everybody in the audience was smoking herb. Everybody. The whole entire audience. So the room was just a cloud of smoke. And Prince couldn't deal with it. He couldn't handle it. We literally had to take at least 10 breaks in the middle of the show so he could go upstairs and get away from it, because he hated the smell. He hated the idea of a contact high, any of that. He didn't want to have any parts of it.
Court documents reveal a family doctor prescribed medications for Prince, but under the name of his bodyguard.
I think there's something fishy going on. I haven't figured out what it is yet. I know everybody out there kind of feels the same way.
There was nobody else there. There was nobody else to help him. I felt bad that I wasn't there for him.
Drug use. There were also people who were very close to Prince, had known him throughout his life, and say they never saw any drug use whatsoever, and they were very shocked by it.
He was so against drugs. Never did any drugs in his life, didn't drink, didn't do anything.
He had created a world that was unlike any other world. No drugs, none of that crazy junk.
I guess in hindsight, it's easy to tell what was wrong, but I didn't see it then. And I want people to know I didn't see it. Had I been able to see it, please believe me, I would have put one hand on his shoulder, as I could have, and said, we live an hour from the #1 addiction treatment facility on the planet. I would have walked away, or if I was asked to leave, I still would have done it. Because I don't care. It would have been easy to do. I didn't see it. The other people that were there didn't see it. He was really private, and I know what to look for. I've worked with enough artists with enough dependencies to know when to see these telltale signs, that they're in an abusive situation. I didn't see it. And I'm always on the lookout for it. But because I didn't see it, and I didn't find a reason for him to be angular. That's a good word. I never used that in that context before, but everything was angular. So it wasn't square or rectilinear or circular, and he always had a good feel about him. And the feel wasn't there. And there was someone else there with us who did a really good job of trying to make it work right. And Kirk was there, and Kirk did everything he could. And he, believe me, that was I can't speak for, I wouldn't speak for Kirk, but I can say this. Anyone who was a part of the situation did everything they could. So when you're exhausted and you have nothing else to do, and Kirk told me, I don't know how you're putting up with this, or I don't know how you can stand this, or something like that.
To things that are very, very suspicious about how they actually. Right, I'm seeing all people saying interviews with Larry Graham that were on there. There was multiple interviews with Kirk Johnson, multiple interviews with the security guards that were on site that night when it happened. Security guards that had pretty significant parts of the story that were covered up. All types of things. All different types of things. Anyways, among them is a recording of a woman by the name of Vera Morgan, who talks about being at the NPG Music Club and witnessing. She names a bunch of people that were sitting at this table, and one of which is a gentleman by the name of Mark, who was a very, very well-known counterfeit drug dealer. But it talks about him and the fact that he is very, very well known in the area or region or something for dealing counterfeit drugs. And they're having some type of discussion, and she does a long discussion about Mark and if he is this missing piece. And this Mark person, has totally disappeared off the face of the planet. Totally disappeared off the face of the planet. But he could very, very well be the missing link to this whole scenario. Kirk has the answers. Kirk has so many answers. He has so many answers. And he's quiet. He's dreadfully quiet. And a lot of people are saying,
name is Mark. Okay. So Ursula and Mark at one point were active witnesses, but Ursula became inactive, stopped going to meetings, and Mark pretty much dropped off the whole radar. And there are allegations of him selling drugs on the side. So they were sitting at the front in the NPG room, sitting as a curved purple sofa. So there were two white males, one a more medium-sized guy who I hadn't seen before. They was also there sitting with them, and it was Ursula and her husband and Omar's, alleged, so-called wife. I say so-called wife because she really wanted Prince, but Prince made it very clear he was not interested in her. And then she went after Omar, his half-brother, as a way to get to him, which still didn't work. But anyway, the thing I want to bring up to me is that, and I was sitting there kind of observing their conversation, and one of the security people, Julius, observed, he knows I can pick up stuff pretty easy. So when he noticed that I was noticing them in their conversation, he kind of went over to them and basically told them to leave. You know what I'm saying? But my concern is that Ursula and her husband looked extremely disheveled, very, ungroomed, and that was normally not how he was. And again, like I said, they were people had told me before that he had been possibly selling drugs.
And so his name would be Mark Love, then, you think?
I believe it is. Even though they were married, they would sometimes be together and not together. So I don't know if Ursula's using her married name or her maiden name. But if you can look her up on Facebook. On and off, we used to do some work up at Paisley for Prince. Okay. But towards the last several months, she hadn't been up there. And Mark, her husband, hadn't been around Paisley for a while, but he has been connected with possibly selling drugs.
Do you know what kind of drugs?
I don't know what kind.